What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A.
On this week's episode, our air conditioner is broken, so that's the challenge we're dealing with today.
Our first question comes from Andres Jimenez, who asks if Maul ever fought Vader, because in Rebels he claims he can't beat Vader alone. Did they ever have a previous duel?
I like that idea, especially with the talk about maybe a solo spin-off Disney Plus series about Crimson Dawn and Maul. Mm-hmm. I think that he has to have at least heard of Vader, know the basics, and know that he's someone he can't handle.
Do we know anything timeline-wise, like about when this could have happened?
No. I mean, we don't know when the potential Crimson Dawn series is going to take place. I would guess it's after Solo, which is 10 years before A New Hope, which makes it like 8 years before that season of Rebels. So there's plenty of time for it.
Yeah.
I definitely think that, they've probably crossed paths before, and Maul was just like, I gotta get out of here.
So do you think he was afraid of Vader?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't see Maul as the type of guy to be afraid of many things.
Well, I think that if we were to see a fight between them previously, then, I think he'll be kind of, I'm a tough guy, I can handle this dude, this half-robot thing. Well, Maul's half-robot too, but he's like, I can probably take him, and then he'll get beat bad, and he'll have to escape. I think that at that point, he knows, like, I cannot handle Vader by myself.
Do you think Palpatine talked to him about Vader?
No.
At all? No.
The last time, as far as we know, the last time Palpatine and Maul had seen each other was during the Clone Wars.
That's true.
But he has had run-ins. We know for sure he's had run-ins with Inquisitors. So, and Vader leads the Inquisitors. So I think that he probably knows what the deal is.
Okay. Sooner Thrawn wants to know if Dominic Monaghan and Matt Smith are actually in the Rise of Skywalker and what roles they are playing. So I know Matt Smith has come out and said, I think I'd know if I were in the last Skywalker movie or whatever, and it's been like a running joke that he's still in it.
Right. Like some big outlets who have good reputations have said that Matt Smith was in it, and it's just never really come up. Like, it's never been 100% said by Lucasfilm, I don't think. Dominic Monaghan definitely is. He has talked about it openly. I'm not expecting him to play a huge role. I bet he's a member of the Resistance or something, probably along the lines of like I can't remember his name. Shoot, the guy in The Force Awakens. He was like one of the just background admirals. Like, I think Dominic Monaghan is going to have a speaking role, but not a huge one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see if they're in the film. We did see, so today, the day we're filming this, we saw the Triple Force Friday live stream, and they teased a couple of new characters, but they're both alien characters, I think. So I don't know if either of them could be playing those parts. But
that'd be interesting. I kind of think that for some reason, I think Dominic will be just a human character. I have nothing to base that off of.
I'd like to see him in the First Order somehow.
He seems too lovable and friendly.
Well, you're thinking of him as a hobbit.
Yeah. I don't think I could see him in the First Order. Unless he's just like the one cool one who's like, second breakfast is here. Like, let's party. And everyone's like, we're trying to be evil. Matt Smith, we just don't know. So I have no speculation, really. He looks like a First Order type to me.
Yeah, that's true.
He could fit that better, I think, but don't know.
Colby Wade asks who Sidious would have taken as his apprentice if Obi-Wan had killed Anakin. Ooh, sloppy seconds.
I mean, like, it's a very Palpatine thing to do. Be like, oh, that didn't work out? Well, okay, on to the next one. At that point in time, and he suggests this in the question, he asks if the Grand Inquisitor would have been next in line. And I think that's probably likely.
Yeah, just the next closest Anakin type character that is like easily manipulated.
Yeah, like I see the Grand Inquisitor being another Dooku type placeholder where it's like, all right, well, I'll use you for now. But we know Palpatine had Project Harvester going where he's like collecting force sensitive children, and he does that for like 20 years. So I bet that was kind of a let me look for the next best thing. So he probably would have done that until he found someone that he felt was suitable to be a true successor to Anakin.
Yeah.
And then he would have tossed the Grand Inquisitor aside.
Cat Lover wants to know what story ideas the sequel trilogy used from George Lucas's original treatments.
So I know of 3 off the top of my head. Luke being in exile was definitely one of them. And I think all this information is found in like the Art of the Force Awakens and the Art of the Last Jedi books. Because they talk about what they were working on for the sequel trilogy before the Disney acquisition. And so Luke in Exile was one. The fact that the main character was going to be a girl Jedi is another one. I think at the time they were calling her Kira, which is interesting. They changed her name to Rey, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the idea that there was a Jedi killer character, and I think it was specifically the son of Han and Leia. I think all of that was part of Lucas's original treatment.
Yeah, you mentioned the old original concept art for A New Hope. Luke was going to be a female character.
Yeah. They went back and forth on stuff like that as far back as episode 4 in 75 or 74 when he was writing it. So yeah, what definitely didn't make it is the stuff that Lucas has talked about after the fact. I think in a talk with James Cameron, he was like, yeah, we were going to go like really microbiological with it and really explore midichlorians and the wills and stuff. And that sounds out there. It definitely would have been different, which that's what, I mean, everyone's talking about, even though this news came out a long time ago where Lucas is like disappointed that The Force Awakens was a rehash, which I can see. Like it didn't push anything. This stuff with the midichlorians definitely would have been pushing new Star Wars boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas has always been known to be pushing boundaries and being very innovative in his filmmaking, but I guess I feel like their only option bringing Star Wars back after so many years was to make it comfortable. Yeah.
And I don't think Lucas has any interest in being a comfortable filmmaker. So yeah, I think that's where...
Yeah, ease people back into it. Introduce some new ideas, new concepts, maybe the end of the Jedi, and then going forward, hopefully we'll be able to explore some fun new ideas.
Yeah, Hilo's playing with the door stopper. But yeah, I agree that I think that you got to ease people back into it. And I hope, I've been saying for a while, I hope that Star Wars gets like weird down the line with, there are now 7 movies that we know of. The Kevin Feige announcement just happened this past week. So there's 7 movies in the pipeline, and I hope some of them are very weird. And like, I hope they do
let's get weird.
Swing for the fences.
Yeah. Robert Miller asks how we feel about the Battlestar Galactica reboot on the NBC streaming service.
So we should say that I figured I'd throw a non-Star Wars question in there because we do love Battlestar, and our dog is named after a Battlestar character. Yeah, we're talking about you. So they did say that it's not a reboot. It's a new series in the same universe.
Yes. So at first, when we first heard the news, we were like, ooh, why would you reboot something so soon that was so good?
Right.
But yeah, now they're saying it's a different story, same universe, different time, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to cover, but knowing that it's not just a straight up, we're telling the same story for the 3rd time makes me interested. Caprica was in the same universe, very different show.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm just annoyed by Peacock, the NBC streaming service. Like, now everyone's going to have their own streaming service. And it's like, yeah, of course we're getting Disney Plus because, like, we have to. Mm-hmm. But, like, they're taking Parks and Rec off of Netflix and putting it on this NBC thing. And, like, I know Hilo. He's upset about it, too.
I think you had mentioned it would be cool for them to explore the first Cylon War, which would be cool. But enough about non-Star Wars things.
Sure, I guess. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films and for the Clone Wars, which we're going through right now. And this week's episode is Assassin, so that's all available right now if you're interested.
On to YouTube questions. Arcadia asks what we think will happen to Aphra after the Empire Ascendant comic.
So that comic is going to be like a big 50-page wrap-up issue for the main Star Wars line, Target Vader, and Dr. Aphra. And yeah, everyone's a little nervous about what's going to happen to Aphra.
Yeah.
I want her to keep going. I really love her series. I love her character. I don't want to see it end. So I think we've heard that the Star Wars series is getting basically rebooted in a new era. Maybe post-Empire, maybe post-Jedi, I don't know. But I don't know. Hopefully it either doesn't end or it like gets picked up somewhere else, rebooted, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the comics are great. I wouldn't mind seeing her story a little deeper in maybe some books.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
Hilo's trying to drink a monster.
Yeah, I remember seeing that announcement, and a lot of people were like, "Oh no!" Like people do not want to see her die. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really see her moving into TV or anything. Like, for some reason, it just feels so hard for a comic character to then make the leap into like their own animated series or live action or whatever. I'd love it, or a video game. I feel like she'd make an excellent protagonist for a video game where you just go treasure hunting.
That would be cool.
But I could see her being in books. I mean, she was already in the From a Certain Point of View collection of stories, so maybe something like that.
Alexis L. wants to know if it bothers us that Anakin got to be a Force ghost despite all the horrible things he did. Bothers me? I wouldn't say it bothers me, but it just... Since then, everything about Force ghosts, especially in the Clone Wars, you kind of wonder, like, what happened there? Like, I mean, for the original trilogy, it kind of makes sense for him to pop up as a Force ghost because we didn't know anything about how they became Force ghosts.
Yeah, we didn't know it was a special thing until Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
And then it's like, you need special training, and then everyone's like, hold on a second.
Yeah. I don't know. Does it bother you?
No, and I'm more thinking like morally. It's just like, yeah, in the real world, if someone like that were redeemed and forgiven for all their sins, and like, yeah, I'd be a little surprised that they got to go to Force heaven.
Yeah.
But the idea that just he came back to the light side, like, to me, that's just kind of setting a standard where, like, now people say, like, no, Ben Solo cannot be redeemed. It's impossible. It's like, no, it's absolutely possible. Anakin could do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it is a weird thing where I'm like, in the real world, yeah, it would bother me. In the fantasy land of Star Wars, it's fine.
I guess when I really think about it, my reasoning behind it is kind of like, well, he was created by the Force, sort of. Like, Immaculate Conception, whatever you want to call it. And maybe that's why he just went straight to Force Ghost.
Yeah, George Lucas even said, like, there's a reason for it, and there's a reason that Hayden Christensen, like, he wanted him to be put into Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. He's never really gone into those details, so it's
probably
like...
just to further... Probably just to further show that they are two separate characters, kind of two separate identities, Anakin Skywalker and Vader.
Yeah, I think that is the idea, that when he was last part of the light, he looked like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like the whole, like, I get it. Darth Vader destroyed Anakin Skywalker and he no longer existed. But they've shown now so many stories where Darth Vader's, like, trying to keep Anakin suppressed. Like, he's still in there, and it's this whole thing where I'm like, that's such a cop-out to be like, oh, no, that was just a different person. Like, Vader did all those things. Anakin's fine. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Anakin made those decisions.
Gary24 fan asks if Lando could have the Lady Luck in The Rise of Skywalker.
So we mentioned last week in the Q&A that maybe Lando will have a new baby. And, well, Lady Luck is canon. It was in the book Last Shot, so he does have it. Whether or not he still has it 25 years later or so, I'm not sure. But, yeah, I think it could potentially appear.
I think it could, too. I don't know if it'll be named as such, because we've talked about this before. J.J. Abrams doesn't really know much about Legends. He doesn't know much about the books.
It doesn't appear that way. Like, there was a Comic-Con where someone asked if Snoke was Plagueis, and he said, who?
Yeah, he's just not into the older Star Wars stuff, so I don't see him, unless the story group, like, insisted that the ship should be called that if he's going to have a ship, and he said okay, fine. But I don't see JJ being like, oh, we should put this in here.
Right. I think what's more likely is he'll be like, I want Lando to have a ship, and then they did concept art and stuff and he picked one out, and it's probably not named in the movie at all, and then Pablo Hidalgo for the visual dictionary has free reign to say, this is the Lady Luck.
Yeah.
It might not look at all what it looked like in Legends, but it could still have the same name.
Yeah.
Frankly, I thought it was kind of ugly in Legends anyway. It doesn't seem like Lando's style.
Yeah. Cameron Alt wants to know if Kylo Ren could lose his Force powers at the end of Episode 9.
I kind of like this idea. I've heard it thrown around before, but somehow it being a consequence of his actions and part of his redemption, his coming back to the light, is somehow he has to give up the thing that he has thought has made him so great and powerful this whole time.
Yeah, I just don't see how he would completely lose them. Maybe he cuts himself off, kind of like what Luke did, but that would be a huge turnaround.
Yeah, it's something that has happened in Legends where, like, someone got cut off from the Force, and, like, I don't think George would like that idea. He didn't like the idea that the Yuuzhan Vong, for example, just could not feel the Force. Like, he thinks that all living things are connected to the Force. So it in that way, I'm like, I don't know that it would happen. But thematically, I kind of like the idea that he would, like, make the choice to give up his gift to do some good for once. I still would think that if he were to be redeemed and survive, he still needs to pay. He still needs to face some consequences, but that would be a good start.
Jedi jail. This is totally random, but it totally reminds me, maybe because we're getting into the Halloween season, of The Craft, where at the end, the girls that end up starting to get into the magic for not so good reasons, they ask, like, the main character, they're like, do you still have powers? Because apparently they've all lost their powers, and she does still have powers because she was the good guy. And yeah.
The Craft. Watch it for the future of Star Wars.
Robbie Courting 78 asks if Palpatine knew about Force ghosts. I imagine so. He knew a lot of things.
See, I kind of think he probably didn't.
No?
My first gut reaction was that he probably would, for that same reason. Like, he seems to know all about a lot of different Force things. But so few people know about becoming a Force ghost. Like, that was a surprise to Yoda in the Clone Wars. It was a surprise to Obi-Wan. We only know of 5 people who've been able to do this now. And I don't know, it seems kind of unlikely that Palpatine would know about it. And he's so interested in, at least in Legends and probably still now, like, his talk about Plagueis, like, he's interested in continuing his life indefinitely.
Yeah, maybe just the idea of living on forever is what he was like so obsessed with, and the idea of coming back as like a light side force ghost just never crossed his mind, or he didn't think it was possible.
Maybe he read a book that like suggested like you can do it, but it's a light side only thing, and he was like no, and just moved on.
Nah,
So
hard pass.
Yeah, doesn't sound like fun. So he just said no. Like I could see him maybe hearing whispers of it, but no, I don't know that he knew the full extent of it. Just because it seemed like such a closely guarded secret.
Maybe he thought it was just another one of those pretentious Jedi things, and he wanted no part of it.
Maybe. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below, or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films,